Welcome to today's news wrap up. Let's dive right into the top stories making headlines today. Cardinal Robert Sarah has gained unexpected support among conservative Catholics as a potential successor to Pope Francis. Despite initial doubts due to his outspoken views and age, his popularity surged following a viral video in which he warned about Europe's cultural decline. Betting odds for his election has significantly improved, making him a more viable candidate. Sarah has consistently defended himself against accusations of disloyalty to Pope Francis, emphasizing his commitment to the church. The upcoming conclave will determine whether his rising momentum translate into actual votes. His stance against progressive ideologies has resonated with many traditional Catholics. Virginia Giuffre, known for her accusations against Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein, tragically died by unaliving herself at her farm in Australia. Her family revealed that she had been struggling with severe mental and physical pain, compounded by a divorce and separation from her children. Jeffrey has faced public criticism and personal challenges, including allegations that she exaggerated a recent car accident. Despite her efforts to bring justice to abuse survivors, the weight of her experiences became overwhelming. Her lawyer and advocates emphasized the lasting toll of abuse and praised her courage in confronting powerful figures. I mean, could you imagine? The tragedy has reignited discussions about the impact of trauma and the challenges faced by survivors. I know it's been a bunch of conspiracy theories going out there about, uh, did she really unalive herself or did someone else? I'm gonna go with the original story here that she did do it because I know she was suffering from mental health issues and stuff. So until I get any other evidence that says otherwise, we're gonna go with that. And me being a therapist, I'm a big advocate on mental health. So people out there suffering from mental health and having issues like that, reach out, try to get some help, try to find a trusted therapist. All right, uh, Shedeur Sanders, son of Deion Sanders, was selected in the fifth round of the NFL draft by the Cleveland Browns, landing at the 144th overall pick. Um, while lower draft positions can affect financial prospects, history has shown that players picked later, like Tom Brady, can still achieve remarkable success. Sanders has faced criticism with an anonymous coach by labeling him entitled and questioning his abilities as a quarterback. And then you got the wokey wokes out there and trying to say that he is racism, that he wasn't picked early and all that other stuff. I think a lot of it has to do with some of his actions. Other analysts have echoed concerns about his performance and suggested he might be better suited for a defensive role. However, Sanders appears grateful for the opportunity, and his future in professional football will uh, will ultimately be determined by his performance on the field. The discussion surrounding his draft position also brings attention to debates again about race and all of that and talent evaluation in the league. Uh, I don't think it has anything to do with his race. I mean, this is the NFL. It's predominantly black, so I don't think it has anything to do with the race. I think he is a bit of entitlement. A bit he wouldn't show up to some of the uh, practices and things like that. Like they were trying to get him to, he didn't go to the combine and all these other things. So, and his dad is very outspoken as well. A lot of people don't want to deal with his dad. So there's a lot surrounding that. I don't think it have anything to do with race. The Democratic Party is grappling with internal divisions over generational and strategic change following its 2024 election a loss. Former President Joe Biden's recent speech highlighted concerns about leadership longevity, while younger figures like David Hogg advocate for a more progressive approach to challenging incumbents. Hogg's initiatives initiative aims to replace long-serving Democrats with fresh voices, sparking debate over whether the party should focus on internal reform or defeating Republicans. Some moderates argue that prioritizing economic issues over symbolic resistance is key to regaining voter trust. Others believe that embracing grassroots activism and progressive policies will energize the base. And I definitely think that'll lose them the next election. But the party's direction remains uncertain as it prepares for the 2026 midterm. A recent poll reveals that California voters are growing wary of the anti-Trump resistance, even in this traditionally Democratic stronghold. I'm just as surprised as y'all. While state leaders continue to push progressive policies on issues like immigration and climate change, many voters are calling for a more cooperative approach with the White House. The disconnect between the political elite and the electorate is evident as frustrations over crime and the high cost of living have led to increased support for Trump. Registered Democrats remain enthusiastic about challenging his administration, but the broader public appears less aligned with the resistance narrative. This shift highlights a growing divide between policymakers and the people they represent. Federal law enforcement has been authorized to detain Venezuelan nationals suspected of being members of the Tren de Agra gang without requiring a court or administrative warrant. This is big. This directive, issued under the Alien Enemies Act, classifies the gang as a terrorist organization. While the agents are encouraged to consult federal prosecutors for warrants when possible, the primary goal is the swift identification and removal of suspects. And I mean, I like it, but I'm kind of scared at the same time because I can see another administration doing something like this and actually abusing it. That's what worries me. And you know, these warrantless arrests. But over 600 alleged members have already been arrested, with immigration and customs enforcement tasked with housing them in Texas detention facilities before deportation. The policy reflects a broader effort to address gang-related threats and enforce immigration laws. Lastly, Vice President J.D. Vance announced that the United States would withdraw from Russia-Ukraine peace talks unless both sides accept President Trump's proposal to end the conflict. Every time they get close, that pesky Zelensky always backs out. Like every time he be like, "Yeah, I'm ready to sign. I'm ready to sign." He goes and he reneges on it, and I think a lot of it has to do with Great Britain and France urging him not to sign these deals. They want a continual war in Ukraine. They do not want to stop this war in Ukraine. Trump's plan includes finally recognizing Russian control over Crimea and much of the territory taken since the invasion, while Ukraine would regain some land, maintain access to the Dnipro River, and receive European security guarantees. The deal also requires Ukraine to drop its NATO membership aspirations, which Trump argues contributed to the war, and it absolutely did. It absolutely did. That was the one thing, that was the main thing that started this, because Vladimir Putin was like, look, we do not want NATO on our borders. We don't want anyone on our border, anyone from NATO near our border. So if Ukraine, and then Ukraine kept begging, like, we want to join NATO, we want to join NATO. And that's what started the whole thing. And then the US started flirting, the West started flirting a little bit with Ukraine, saying, yeah, we might consider it. We might consider it, when they know no way were they ever gonna really have Ukraine be a part of NATO. They're just using it as a chip to ramp up Russia. This is what the West was doing. The Ukrainian President Zelensky remains firm in his refusal to cede territory, frustrating Trump, who insists that Ukraine lacks leverage. And they don't have any leverage. Like, they depend on the United States money and machines, weapons to fight this war. If we just drop everything, Ukraine would be done. They wouldn't, because you really think Great Britain and France alone would be able to support Ukraine? You think they would support Ukraine like they need? Of course not. So he has no, Zelensky has no bargaining chips. But Trump's special envoy recently met with Putin, and Trump claims negotiations are close to being finalized. Vance emphasized that both nations would need to make territorial concessions to achieve peace. But that's all for today's news wrap up. Stay tuned for more updates, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.